Hi everybody, this is Coach Darby coming to you with our video for week 3 of our Cut the Crap Challenge. This week's focus is on sugar, and so I hope everybody has been having an awesome week of working to, lower your daily intake of refined sugar. That was the goal of this week, was just being aware of your habits around sugar, any, cravings that you have, taking note of when you get those. Is that out of habit of this, just, this is when I eat sugar, just having a habit of that? Or is it kind of like I'm starting to feel sluggish in the day, so I start to crave sugar? Or are you like a late night sugar eater? Do you typically eat your dinner and immediately start craving something sweet? And then kind of working through those, finding different ways to, suffice a craving that you might have with a more whole foods option, or just in general, reducing that intake by maybe checking out your ingredients labels or cleaning out your pantry and just having more awareness of all of the sugar that's in pretty much every product outside of Whole Foods that we have here in the US. So I hope everyone's been having a fun week. I hope maybe it was challenging for some of us, that some of us have been having a lot of success and feeling really good. A lot of times, especially if you intake quite a bit of refined sugar, cutting it out or reducing it for even 7 days, you will be feeling a massive difference in your clarity of thinking, in your sleep, in your focus during the day, in your energy levels during the day, in your mood. Maybe you're not hitting that 3 p.m. crash like a lot of us get sometimes during the workday. So I hope all of us have been feeling better this week, especially if you're coupling your goals and habits from week 1 and 2 into this week 3. So again, I just hope everyone's having an awesome time. I want to talk a little bit today about the anatomy and physiology behind what blood sugar is, and how sugar, refined, when I'm saying sugar here, I'm talking about natural sugars, but also refined sugars, how those play a role in that system of your blood sugar. So blood sugar is a layman's term for glucose. So glucose is the levels of sugars you have flowing through your bloodstream. So that healthy level, if any of you guys have ever had a fasting blood glucose test, is typically between 70 to 90. So that should be your fasting glucose. So that's, you haven't eaten all night long, or possibly you had longer between your meal times than you were planning and you haven't eaten in 5 hours, that blood sugar should be between 70 to 90. So in a healthy person with a healthy blood sugar regulation, your blood sugar, if this is your healthy range, but that 70 to 90, when you're fasting, that's going to stay between that 70 and 90 like this. When you eat, it's going to raise maybe a little bit, maybe from about 90 to 120, but it's going to raise a little bit out of that fasting zone. And then your body's going to be able to bring that back down very gently, back into that healthy range of 70 to 90. So think about it. Fasting zones, 70 to 90. You're eating, so of course that blood sugar is going to raise because you're having food coming into your body. Ideally, if you're eating balanced meals, foods high in fiber, having your protein, carb, and fat and veggies present in your meal, that's almost a guarantee that you're just going to have that gentle raise in your blood sugar, and then you're going to come back down to that healthy range of 70 to 90 in your fasting windows. So that's in a healthy, regulated blood sugar system. When I say system, I'm talking, there's a few different within your body, like anatomy within your body, that play a role in your blood sugar functioning properly. First of all, your body has to be able to be in homeostasis. So what that means is your body is balanced. When your body is in that 70 to 90 range of fasting, that's your body in homeostasis. It's happy right there. It can function as it needs to. So starting this cascade of what portions of your body play a role in blood sugar regulation starts with your brain. So your brain and your central nervous system is what is going to talk to all the organs in your body that play a role of when they need to fire off what hormones, because it's hormones that regulate your blood sugar system. So your brain and your central nervous system are responsible for keeping, your organs functioning and releasing what they should to keep that blood sugar in that healthy range. Then we go to your pancreas, which is really one of the stars of the show. Your pancreas releases two hormones, insulin and glucagon. So insulin is what is released when your blood sugar needs to get lowered. It's kind of the storage hormone. So let's say you just ate a donut and your blood sugar is spiked. Like your blood sugar, you got that sugar rush, your blood sugar is spiked. Your body is going to release a large amount of insulin to try to get that blood sugar back to that healthy 70 to 90 range. Because it's telling it's going to, because there's so much insulin, or there's so much glucose in the blood, insulin tells your body to store it. So it can get stored in your liver, or it can get stored in your muscles, or in cases when your liver is completely full, your muscle storage is full, it gets converted to adipose tissue, which means fat, and it's stored as fat. So that's the role of insulin in relation to the pancreas. Glucagon is, let's say that you have not eaten in 6 hours. Like your day got by super busy, you forgot the kids at daycare, like you just had a rough day, you didn't have any snacks in your car, so you haven't eaten in much longer than what your typical meal times are, and your blood sugar is now too low. Your blood sugar is below that 70. Your body releases something called glucagon. So glucagon is released by that pancreas, and it tells your liver to release glucose into the blood to keep you in that healthy 70 to 90 range. And that's what happens when you sleep. So this whole idea of what I'm talking about is called metabolic flexibility. It's the idea of, okay, if I've eaten something that's raised my blood sugar, my body is able to get me back to that healthy range. If I have not eaten in too long and my blood sugar is too low, my body is able to release the hormones it needs and communicate like it needs to get me back up to that healthy 70 to 90 range. So the idea of our blood sugar is that we are constantly kind of just in this ebb and flow, in this range, with that metabolic flexibility of, okay, when we eat, I'm going to use the example, when I say eat here, I'm talking a balanced, nutrient-dense meal. So protein, carb, and fat is present, nutrient-dense, properly prepared. I'm not talking like KFC fried chicken. I'm talking, you all know what I mean by that, a properly prepared meal with good balance of macros. You're going to get that gentle rise, as you should, because you just consumed food, but then your body is going to be able to release just the right amount of insulin to get you back down into that range that you should be when you're fasting. Then, on the flip side, when you haven't eaten in too long, and you're down here, you're below that 70, your body is able to release the exact amount of glucagon it needs to release the exact amount of glucose into your blood to get you back into that healthy range of 70 to 90. That is called metabolic flexibility. Most people in our country have a dysfunctional metabolic flexibility. So that is, if you're like, well, what do you mean by that, Darby? Could that be me? If you are someone that gets really hangry when you have not eaten, that can be a sign that you have a little bit of dysfunction in your metabolic flexibility. If you are someone that crashes in the middle of the day, that can be a little bit of a sign that you have some dysfunction in your metabolic flexibility. If you are someone that eats a lot of refined sugar, drinks a lot of soda, tends to not eat for multiple hours after eating, those are pretty, those are things that very much so can lead to dysfunction in your metabolic flexibility. And so that's why, especially in our macros week, I talked about, trying to eat about 1 to 2 hours after waking, because your blood sugar, you're going to have been fasting for 8 to 9 hours. And if you slept for, let's say 7 to 9 hours, and then you're not eating for 4 more hours, that is a very long time, and you're putting a lot of stress on your body and on your central nervous system and on your pancreas to be pumping out glucagon and to try to keep that blood sugar high so that you feel clear-headed, you feel like you have energy, you feel good. For a lot of us, it's very unlikely that you feel good when you do things like that, because our body eventually taps out. And if you do that every day for weeks or months, your body's going to get fatigued, and you're going to start having a lot of the symptoms I noted at the beginning of this video. So maybe you're tired during the middle of the day, trouble focusing, maybe some mood swings, women not having normal cycles, plethora of different things. And so, our blood sugar is what gives us energy. Our blood sugar is what helps us focus during the day. It helps us in our workouts. And so, you know, we want to ideally stay in that 70 to 90 range. I do want to give like a quick little scenario for some of us, because this can maybe shed some light on why we have the focus of sugar this week. I think we all know like sugar is bad for us, but why exactly is sugar bad for us? And this is, honestly, it's extremely detrimental to your blood sugar regulating systems. So what I've talked about here, you know, your liver, kind of all the aspects of it, your liver, your pancreas, your adrenals, I'll get to why your adrenals are in there, your brain, your skeletal muscles, your central nervous system. Consuming a large amount of sugar regularly puts a lot of stress on every single one of those areas. So I'm going to give you a little scenario here and you'll see why. So you've been fasting all night long. So you wake up in the morning. You got a super busy morning. Maybe, you know, the battery was dead in your car and you've got a meeting to get to work and you got to drop your kids off at school and different things like that. So your morning is just rushed. So you make a black cup of coffee and you grab a sugary granola bar out of your pantry and you go run and you hop in the car. So you're stressed. Like you woke up and you were on high, go, 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 go. So your body is already releasing from your adrenals two hormones, cortisol, which is our stress hormone, and adrenaline. That's when you can you can start to feel that like, okay, I'm going. I personally can feel when I have had a cortisol or adrenaline rush, like I start to get shaky. I can start to feel a little bit dizzy-headed. That's how my body responds. So you're already feeling stressed. You got cortisol in your body. You got adrenaline in your body. You hop in the car with your kids. Maybe your kids are arguing in the back. That's making you more stressed and annoyed. So you're having more adrenaline and more cortisol being released from your adrenals in your body. So then you finally start drinking and chugging down that black cup of coffee. So black coffee has caffeine in it. Caffeine, when not accompanied with food, specifically protein, carb, and fat, it does give an insulin response. It will spike your glucose in your blood. So it will bring you out of that 70 to 90 range, more than likely. So you're chugging down that black cup of coffee, which is now starting to raise that blood sugar. And then you're eating that super sugary granola bar. And now that's going to majorly spike your blood sugar. So that's what we call that blood sugar. That's what we call that sugar rush. So now out of this healthy range, you were kind of maybe low, and then you started to get some insulin and cortisol. So maybe you started to come up a little bit, and then you started drinking that black coffee and you've gotten higher. And now you had your sugary granola bar, and now you're up here. So now your brain and your central nervous system are saying, SOS, we're higher than we should be. So it signals your pancreas to release insulin. And so you're so high up here. You've been stressed all morning. All you've had is black coffee and your sugary granola bar. So your blood sugar's up here. So your pancreas is going to flood your bloodstream, flood your body with a bunch of insulin. So what's that going to do? It's going to lower your blood sugar lower than it should be. And so we got that sugar high here. We got the sugar crash right here. So that blood sugar is now lower than it should be. So now, again, your central nervous system and your brain are going, SOS, now we're lower than we should be. So they signal to your pancreas again to release the hormone glucagon. And glucagon is what tells your liver to release glucose into the blood to help bring that back to a healthy level. So you were kind of stressed. All right, you were up here. Then you were down here. Your pancreas is releasing glucagon. When you're also low like this, your body also calls on your adrenals for more cortisol and more adrenaline. So now your adrenals are pumping overtime to help get that back to here. All right, maybe you got back to here. You forgot your lunch this morning because you were rushed, and all you've had today was that cup of coffee and that sugary granola bar. You hit lunch, and maybe your meetings ran over, and so they had brought in donuts today, and so you have a donut. And maybe they had a banana because they had some bananas out and you were trying to make the healthy choice. So you just grab a banana. So you got a donut and a banana. And that's what you eat because you're just like, I just need to eat something. So again, to vary carbohydrate, a banana is very high in carbohydrates. It's fantastic. It is a whole food source of carbohydrate. But it can, when eaten by itself, it is going to spike that blood sugar a little bit. So you take that and then you have that with your donut, and again, now you're back in this roller coaster. You were maybe kind of dipping low, okay? You were down here and you kind of maybe got back to that healthy range, but then you didn't eat for quite some time and you were still stressed, so you started to dip low again. So you have that banana and you have that donut and you're spiked back again. Sugar high. Well, then your body releases all that insulin again. Sugar crash, then glucagon, more cortisol, more adrenaline trying to get you back here. And so this is what creates insulin resistance, because your body is constantly having to shuffle out insulin all day long to try to keep you in healthy ranges. And so your body just becomes insensitive to it. That can be a clear sign of like a precursor for type 2 diabetes. And I'm talking that's majorly down the line, of like years of insulin output, more than it should be, you know, calling on your pancreas a lot more than it should be. You can have pancreas fatigue. That's a huge thing. That's kind of a precursor for type 2 diabetes. When your pancreas has been working overtime for, again, I'm talking weeks, not weeks, I'm talking years, multiple years, it creates a fatigued pancreas, and your pancreas just can't push out the insulin and glucagon anymore because it's been on such high demand for so long. And so if you want to ask me, all right, how do I then keep a healthy blood sugar range, and how will I know that I am? So we've honestly already worked on the things that put us in a healthy blood sugar range, and that is macro balanced meals, having a protein, carb, and fat at your meals, eating actual meals. And so that's like, for me, my goal for week 1 was eating every 3 to 4 hours, and maybe one snack in the day if I really need it. Because you are, by sitting down and eating your meal, okay, between your meals, you're ideally staying in that 70 to 90. I'm going to sit down and eat my meal. I'm going to gently raise that blood sugar, and then I'm going to give my body the time to properly digest and bring that blood sugar back down to that healthy fasting range, and I'm just going to chill there. And then about 3 hours later, I'm going to eat again, and it's going to be that gentle rise, and then I'm going to give my body about 3 hours to digest all that food, put me back at that healthy range, then I'm going to eat again. And it's this gentle kind of, you know, ebb and flow here, the gentle rise when you eat, and then back down to gentle ebb and flow. That happens when you are eating regular meals. Why I typically discourage snacking all day is because you are then calling on your blood sugar regulating system and your digestive system to be functioning all day long. When you are eating specific meals with, you know, maybe 3 to 4 hours between them, you are giving rest to those systems in your body. You're not calling on them to be pumping out or working all day long. So, eating nutrient-dense meals, balanced meals, eating regularly, eating within 2 hours of waking, ideally 1 to 2 hours, so that you're not putting stress on that body. Okay, you fasted for 8 to 9 hours while you were sleeping. Now you're expecting your body to also try to keep you at a healthy level as you're, you know, maybe entering the stress of the morning, starting work meetings, different things like that. So eating within 1 to 2 hours of waking. Proper hydration plays a huge role, because honestly, being properly hydrated can help alleviate sugar cravings. It helps every aspect of our body. So being properly hydrated. And then this week, being aware of what your cues are, or your habits or your cravings when it comes to sugar. So if you're someone, I kind of mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you're someone that craves sugar in the afternoon, that's likely you're kind of hitting that afternoon crash of maybe you've been having some blood sugar dysregulation all day long, and your body is finally like, man, we need a nap. Like, we can't do this anymore. And so some ways to help yourself: ensure you're eating within an hour or 2 of waking. Get your balanced meals in. Avoid just drinking coffee by itself, because again, that does give you a blood sugar response. Put some half and half in it, or drink it while you are eating breakfast. Avoid just drinking black coffee alone on its own. If you are a sugar craver in the evening, pay attention to the macro balance of your meals. Are you having enough fat in your meals? Is there enough protein in your meals? A fun way, the challenge that Toby and I do sometimes, because he's a big like sugar in the evening kind of person, is no sugar after 8 p.m. And we tend to eat dinner at like 7:30, and so that was a fantastic, like, ours was more of a habit. His was more of a habit of like, he would just eat sugar after he had dinner. And it wasn't always a ton. It was just like a little something here or there, but it was a craving for something that was just a habit. Like his body was not needing more carbohydrates and his blood sugar was not low. It was just a habit that he had that turned into, when you're eating a lot of refined sugar, your body will start to crave that, whether your blood sugar is low or not. And so we did a like, hey, no sugar after 8 p.m. And when we start eating dinner at 7:30, makes it pretty simple because we're eating dinner at 8 p.m. You know, we're finishing eating around 8 p.m. And so that was a great challenge for us that kind of got us kickstarted to where he compared to when we first got together, eats a lot less sugar, especially in the evenings than when he did originally, because he changed that habit. He rewired his brain and thinking, okay, I just had dinner, now I eat sugar. And so some of this is just rewiring your habits and rewiring when your brain thinks you're going to be eating sugar. And so, you know, this is lots of science kind of in this conversation today, but it's super fascinating and super amazing to understand what is happening in your body when you are eating sugar, when you are drinking a soda, when you are just drinking black coffee for 4 hours after you got up this morning. And then understanding, wow, that's the reason I have brain fog in the middle of the day. That's the reason I'm exhausted in the middle of the day. That's the reason I have imbalanced energy levels. Or maybe that's why I have some hormone imbalance. Or again, I mentioned it earlier, for women, if you do not have a regular cycle, your blood sugar regulation plays a massive part in the health of your cycle. And so I love this topic. It's super fun. If you guys have questions, reach out to me. If you're like, hey, I feel X, Y, and Z around this time in the day, what do you think could help support, you know, just having better blood sugar regulation and me feeling like I have more energy and I'm more clear-headed, send me an email and I'm happy to respond to you and give you ideas. But otherwise, I hope everyone comes into the weekend with sticking to your goals, okay, being aware of if you're a person that's like super on track during the week but kind of, you know, goes crazy on the weekends, pay attention to that. Notice, all right, is sugar a driver of my kind of craziness on the weekends? And then how can you work through that? What are your options? Instead of your maybe Sour Patch Kids binging on a Saturday night on Netflix, hey, let's have some strawberries, do a fruit salad, let's get some watermelon because it's in season and out right now. Think of some other options that you could have instead of that sugary thing that's available to you. So I hope everyone's having an awesome week. Please reach out to me with questions and have an awesome weekend.